It is 7:08 on Tuesday, January 28th. Thank you so much for your patience. We had a little bit of trouble getting into the physical space, so just giving everyone a couple minutes to get on. I call this meeting to order. First order of business is, and I apologize, I'm getting over the flu, so if you can't hear me, please let me know, but I will try to project as much as possible. But we'll start with a roll call. We do have some commissioners that have been newly elected, so I'll go ahead and kind of say the commissioner's name just so since the beginning of the year. So we'll start with 5F01, Commissioner Nicole Jones. Just be present if you are here.
Present.
Amazing. 5F02, Commissioner Rosani.
Present.
5F03, Commissioner Patricia Williams.
I'm here.
Great. Commissioner 5F04, Commissioner Mark Galvon.
Present.
Commissioner of 5F05 is myself, Jennifer Anderson, and I am president. And 5F06, Commissioner Joe Bishop Henchman is present online, but I'll let you say present.
Present.
And then Commissioner for 5F07 is Kelly Bizandian. We do not see her online, but we'll give her a minute. Okay, great. Well, with 6 out of 7 commissioners present, we have quorum, and this meeting is now officially called to order. First order of business is, I guess we have approval of the agenda later. We'll start with public comment. Since it's the first meeting of the year, we do have some business to cover. We'll go into an election, but before that, we have public comment. If anyone would like to address your neighbors and the commission. If you are joining us online, please use the raise your hand feature and we will recognize you. Okay, great. With no hands noted, we'll go ahead and move on to the next item on the agenda. So given it's the first meeting of the year, we have election of officers. We have 4 positions that need to be filled. We have chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer. So we'll start with chair and then go accordingly. If there are any commissioners who would like to, or if anyone would like to nominate anyone for the position of chair, including nominating themselves, please go ahead and do so. Commissioner Sani?
I nominate Commissioner Galvon as chair.
Great. Is there a second? I'll second that.
I didn't hear who you say.
Commissioner Galvon is what Commissioner Sani said. Okay, great.
Seconds are not required for nominations.
Great. I always defer to Commissioner Bishop Henchman to be my parliamentarian. No seconds are required. Great. So we have Commissioner Galvon as nominated.
I accept the nomination.
Great. Commissioner Galvon accepts the nomination. Any other candidates wishing to run? Mr. Parliamentarian, do we have to vote if there's only one candidate?
I think so.
Okay, great. We'll go into a voice vote for this. So we'll go ahead and start. We'll go in order. 5F01, Commissioner Nicole, how do you vote?
Yeah.
Great, excellent. Commissioner Sani?
Aye.
Aye. 5F03?
No.
Great. 5F04?
Okay.
Great.
Yes.
5F05 is myself, and I vote aye. 5F06 is Commissioner Bishop Henchman.
Yes.
Great. And 5F07 is not present. So with a vote of 5 yeses, 1 no, this vote passes. Congratulations, Commissioner Galvon, you are now chair. Great. Next position.
So, point of order. I guess since I've been elected chair, do I
take over from
Yeah, please
Okay.
take it over.
here? All right, great.
Congratulations.
Please bear with me as there'll be a little bit of a learning curve as I learn the responsibilities here. So we'll continue with the election of officers. We'll start with the next item is vice chair. Are there any nominations for the position of vice chair?
Great. I'd like to nominate myself for vice chair.
Great. Are there any other nominations for vice chair? Seeing none, we will go to a roll call vote for vice chair. I'll call it in order. 5F01, Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
Commissioner Sani.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
No.
Commissioner Galvan, myself, aye. I vote aye. Commissioner Bishop Henchman. Sorry,
Aye.
Commissioner. Excuse me,
Oh.
Commissioner Anderson.
I vote aye.
Commissioner Bishop Henchman,
Aye.
and then Commissioner Zenjon is not present. With the vote of 5 to 1 to 1 not present, Commissioner Anderson is duly elected vice chair. Congratulations. We'll now go to the election of officer for secretary. Do we have any nominations or self-nominations for the position of secretary? Oh, sorry. Commissioner Bishop Henchman, do you
Yes, sir.
recognize?
I'd like to nominate myself for secretary.
All right. Great. Are there any other nominations for secretary?
I'll nominate myself.
Okay. Commissioner Jones has also elected to nominate herself for the position of secretary. Are there any other nominations for secretary? Seeing none, we will go to a voice vote for each. And the vote will be for commissioners to select the particular individual they wish to elect. If that makes sense. Is that correct, parliamentarian?
You did not come through, Commissioner.
Yes, yes, you're correct.
Okay. All right. So we will start at the top of the roll call. Commissioner Jones?
I either vote for myself.
Yes, yes. You're either vote for yourself or Jones.
Commissioner Jones for secretary.
Commissioner Sani?
So, Commissioner Jones.
Commissioner Williams?
Commissioner Jones.
Commissioner Galvan, I vote Commissioner Jones. Commissioner Anderson?
Bishop Henchman.
Commissioner Bishop Henchman?
For myself,
And Commissioner Zenjon. All right. My view, the vote is 4 to 2 to 1. 4 votes in the aye, 2 in the nay. Or sorry, excuse me. There are 4 votes for Commissioner Jones, 2 votes for Commissioner Bishop Henchman, and 1 absent. So Commissioner Jones has been elected as secretary. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service. Next position up is Commissioner, the next position is Treasurer for the 5F Commission. Are there any nominations or self-nominations for Commissioner, for Treasurer? I'd like to nominate Commissioner Sani.
Accept.
Are there any other nominations for Treasurer? With that, we will go for a roll call vote for Commissioner Sani as Treasurer. At the top, Commissioner Jones. Yeah, either aye or yay, or aye or nay. Sorry.
Aye.
Commissioner Sani.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams. Commissioner Galvan votes aye. Commissioner Anderson.
Aye.
Commissioner Bishop Henchman.
Aye.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, thank you. And then Commissioner Zenjon is not present, correct? All right, with a vote of 6-0-1, Commissioner Sani has been elected treasurer. Congratulations. Thank you for your service.
Big responsibility.
We'll move on to approval of the agenda. The agenda is posted on ANC 5F. Typically, it is posted about 7 days in advance of the meeting. If there are any commissioners who would like to adjust or change or add anything in addition to what is currently on the agenda, please let me know now. I will make, I'll look around, see if there's anything. I will make just a quick announcement.
Just
Oh, sorry, go ahead, yes,
So I
Commissioner
wanted to amend the nominations to add someone. Should I wait until the nomination time? for committees?
Yes, yeah, I think it's fine for us to wait until we get to the appointments for the committees. Any other questions from commissioners? I will make a note that in the agenda, I had taking my position out of chair, and as Commissioner Galvan, I had been working on 2 settlement agreements for the Family Tree and Edgewood International. Those have not been finalized. I was hoping they would be finalized before tonight. We're still in negotiations with those, but we're very close, hopefully very close to both. So those will not be on the agenda for tonight and may require a special meeting and a future time.
Oh, just one note, Chair Galvan,
Yes,
I
yes.
think there's unintentional repetition. Number 6 is adoption of the 2025 meeting calendar, and I think there's also a resolution that is on the consent agenda. So
Okay, so you're saying the resolution to adopt the 2025 meeting calendar should be in
I think we can
the
just
action agenda?
pull it off the consent agenda and just discuss it under the item 6.
All right, are there any objections? So the request is to move the resolution to adopt the 2025 meeting agenda to have its own
It's just duplicated on the agenda, basically. So
oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see that. It's
Yeah.
item 6 where it is on item 10.
My
Okay.
bad.
Okay, got it. So to strike 10B as it is already in item 6.
Yep.
Any objections? All right, that will be noted. And we will approval of the agenda. Are there any, I'll just do a voice vote for the approval of the agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All in favor say nay. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, so the approval of the agenda will move forward with that one minor change. Moving on along to the approval of the minutes, Commissioner Bishop Henchman.
Yes, I distributed the minutes of the December 16th meeting and then redistributed them again at the beginning of this year just because we've had some turnover. I don't think I got any comments or edits, so I move that we adopt them as submitted.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Are there any objections? All right, we'll just do a quick voice vote for approval of the agenda. All in favor say aye. Aye. All in favor say nay. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The approval of the minutes have been noted. Commissioner Bishop Henchman, does that require a roll call vote?
No, you're done. You got it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Item number 6 is the adoption of the 2025 meeting calendar. Since this is a resolution that Commissioner Bishop Henchman put together, the floor is yours, Commissioner Bishop Henchman.
Yes, this is, hold up. Apologies. Yes, so we are required by law to meet at least nine times a year. We can meet more than that. And what this resolution proposes is that we meet on the third Tuesday, except for August. And it has all of the things we have to put into a resolution about it in it.
All right. The action is to vote on this adoption of the 2025 meeting calendar. Are there any questions or amendments to the calendar? Commissioner Williams?
Like you stated, there's 9 months required for us. Since July and August, there's no session with the government agencies. Why we just can't adopt taking July and August off. Because any business handle or call of self-handling in those 2 months is referred to September.
Are there any other comments on the adoption, or sorry, on Commissioner Williams' request?
So I will say, I think last year we did have quite a bit of business in July. Like there were a lot of things that came up. So like I do wonder if while the council may not be meeting, if there would be, like, we'd be just letting people down who are trying to get other things moving.
Other people trying to get what? I can barely hear you.
Get things moving. Like, I recall there were some presentations leading up to housing and zoning related matters like the HUDs and such. We also had I recall we also had a TSI come through that usually there's that 30-day expiration window. And if we didn't have a meeting to vote on it, then we would have not been able to have it.
I understand that. But even if the TSI came through and all these other meetings in July, wasn't no resolve until September.
But
Sorry.
But there was a deadline with those, right? So like, VDOT will consider your feedback on, sorry, and I said TSI, I meant notice of anyway. If there was no response by the deadline, they would ignore the ANC's response by the time we got the deadline.
So if the deadline is in July, why we can't have that meeting in June?
Usually they give it with like a 30 to 40-day window, and so if they announce after our meeting but before our next meeting, there's that.
Then we can call a special meeting.
That is not the case.
So, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not doing decorum very well here. I'll call the folks to go back and forth. My apologies. Yes, Commissioner Anderson.
Yeah, I would be supportive of like continuing our tradition. I think like from the founding of 5F 2 years ago, we've made a tradition of meeting, just having August as the break. And I would love to see that continue because I think that if someone applies for, if a business applies for an alcohol license, for example, that we have time. I think that having, because some of our business doesn't follow the council cycle, including, you know, alcohol licenses and other things, I do think that like going on break for 2 months might be a little bit too much. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is that we did adopt a grant cycle calendar, and the third quarter calendar. We set the application deadline for our July meeting, and having it be accounted for us taking a break in August, and that the award month would be in September. So in order to keep with that, we would have to keep our July meeting in progress. I think that like in past years, we've said that like if it does happen that July is a very slow month, that we'll take it off the calendar. But I think in the past 2 years, July has actually been a pretty active meeting for us. So that's why I personally would be in support of having an August break by keeping the July meeting.
Okay. Are there any other comments? I think I saw Commissioner Bishop Henchman with his hand raised.
Yes, thank you. Commissioner Sani and Commissioner Anderson already made the points that I wanted to make. We had quite a bit of business at our July meeting this past year. We had our ultimate vote on Eckington Muse, and I think that was on the deadline. And you know, I guess theoretically we could have done it before, but you know, there was a lot of discussion that was warranted for that project, so it had to go up to the deadline on it. We also did the bottle bill resolution, which, if you've been following that, has now been turned into council legislation. So a big success for us on working on that. And then we also had a couple of TSIs, which, as Commissioner Sani noted, if we hadn't met in July, we would have missed the deadline for responding. So, you know, it may have been back in the day that there's a summer break for all government agencies, but it's certainly not the case now. APCA is working, DDOT's working, and, you know, yeah, so I'll leave it there.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Bishop Henchman. Commissioner Anderson, I'm sorry, Commissioner Williams, did you have any other comments?
I'm still sticking by what I said. They do take a break. Nothing gets resolved until September.
Are you proposing a change to the schedule? If I'm understanding you correctly, your proposal is to strike the July 15th meeting from the calendar. Are you proposing that?
Yes, I'm proposing that. Also with if we need to have a special meeting for any last minute things, I'm willing to go for that part.
Okay.
Special meeting.
Okay. Is there a second to that motion? Hearing none. Is there a proposal to move forward on this particular action? Commissioner Bishop Henchman?
I move to adopt the resolution as introduced.
Okay.
I second.
Commissioner Anderson seconds. We will go to a we will go to a voice vote. We'll start with Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Aye. Commissioner Sani.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Yeah.
Nay. Commissioner Calvon votes aye. Commissioner Anderson.
I vote aye.
Commissioner Bishop Henchman.
Yes.
Mentioned votes aye, and Commissioner Zenjon is still not present. With a 5 to 1 to 1, the resolution to adopt the 2025 meeting calendar has passed. Moving on, we will go to the announcements from commissioners. We'll open it up to see if there are any commissioners that would like to make announcements. Commissioner Sani has been recognized.
Yeah, so as folks are aware, in December to January, when we had the snowstorm, DDOT and DPW failed to really do their jobs throughout the city. There were complicating factors, of course, with both the counting of electoral votes and President Carter's funeral. However, a lot of the resolutions that we had put forward as a commission last year were not fully heeded or responded to. So I know that Commissioner Richard Henchman was following up, as was I, but I think we might have to do some further follow-ups with the government agencies. Additionally, I will point out that oversight season is upon us. So I encourage people, if you are displeased with the responses of DPW for snow removal or DDOT for cleaning the bike lanes, for example, please sign up. Registration is open for DDOT right now. DPW, I think, in the next few days. That is the time for the council to hear your voice on how well these agencies may or may not be operating. I encourage you to reach out to your council member or your ANC if you have questions, but you can go to the DC Council website and sign up for to testify. It's a couple minutes, or you can submit written record if you want instead of speaking virtually. But it's a great way to have the agency heads have to respond to the large public commentary on that.
Thank you, Commissioner Sani. Commissioner Anderson?
Great. I'll start with an internal update. We talked a little bit about our issues with our bank account. That is underway. It is to move over to PNC. Hopefully we'll have that finalized by our February meeting. But just wanted to update that there has been progress made. Exciting. Second, just to reference the aforementioned grant information. I know we had a special meeting earlier this year. I wanted to thank Commissioner Sani for getting this up on our website. Thank you so much. But if you go to our website, anc5f.com, there is a subpage on grants that outlines our quarterly grant schedule. So the next application deadline is February. So there's kind of a standard ANC grant form application, and it does need to go to OANC and to a commissioner at the same time who kind of sponsors your application. But if you have any questions, feel free to email the general 5F email, 5f@anc.dc.gov, or your commissioner directly. It's kind of neat. You do need to be kind of an organization to apply, but not necessarily a 501c3 organization. And you can apply up to $2,500. So the funding is out there. So I'm looking forward to application. Again, the next deadline is February. What else was I going to say? I think I was also going to talk about oversight. But I think I'm sure Sam will talk more about that. I think I had a DPR related announcement, but I'll let Chris speak to that later.
Commissioner Wood, yes.
Quite hear you on the first part about the bank. What happened?
Yeah.
Because this grant, I can
Yeah.
barely hear you.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I'm just trying my best to predict. But there was an issue with Industrial Bank where we talked about it in our last meeting, where there was kind of a security issue that affected a couple of ANC accounts, where basically the people listed on the account was like one of the things that was changed without our awareness. So we voted to change our banking institution and kind of authorize the treasurer and the chair to take that forward. So with that mandate in my office as chair, I started that work. I didn't complete it under my tenure, but I will hand it over to the chair and treasurer it should be relatively straightforward, the steps that need to happen before that to finalize it.
So you're changing banks?
Yes, we voted as
To what?
to PNC. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Anderson. Are there any other commissioners that have announcements?
Oh, the other announcement that I was
Yes,
going to make,
Commissioner Anderson?
sorry,
That's okay.
is there a couple public safety walks that are coming up in our neighborhood? Let me just look up the details, but maybe we can talk about that during our public safety committee update. But that's exciting. There are a couple happening in our neighborhood.
Thank you, Commissioner Anderson. I'll make a couple brief announcements. I know earlier I mentioned the two settlement agreements that currently I'm negotiating with. And I want to thank the commission for putting their confidence in me. It has taken a lot of work to get where we are today. It's still ongoing. Certainly lots of communication with the community, with the different business owners, and trying to meet in the middle. And so both of those kind of protest hearings have been pushed off to give us more time to reach a settlement agreement. And so appreciate everyone's patience as we work through that. That's all. And regarding the public safety walks, individual commissioners can also reach out to the new commander for the 5th district and set up a particular one in an area if the commissioner wants another area outside of those. I know I've had some contact with them about that.
I think the next one, just since I pulled up the details now, is February 4th. Meeting right near here at 1625 Eckington Place at 4 p.m.
Yeah. All right. Any other announcements from commissioners?
I might have one.
Sure.
Actually, never mind.
Okay, no problem. All right. Moving on the agenda, announcements from representatives of elected officials for 5 minutes each. The Mayor's Office of Community Relations. I'm not sure who the new point of contact is for that office. I think there has been a little bit of turnover. Do we have that individual on the line?
I don't think so.
Anthony Black is still the voter manager in Ward 5 in Christian Starkville. Are there
Okay.
points?
Okay. Great. Seeing none, Mr. Bonner from Ward 5 Council Member Zachary Parker's office. I believe he is on the line. Sam, the floor is yours.
Hello, hey everyone. My name is Sam Bonner. I work for Councilmember Zachary Parker's office. And yeah, if you don't know me, nice to meet you. I'm gonna put my contact info in the chat. Definitely looking forward to meeting you, Commissioner Jones. I know we haven't met before, so and if you could send me your contact information, it's the best way to reach you. I'd love to connect. I think I have everyone else's besides. Well, actually, no, I got Commissioner Brzezinski. Not sure how to pronounce it. Got their information. So, and I'll also drop my email in the chat, and anyone is feel free if you have any issues with city agencies, want me to advocate or escalate things for you, or connect you to someone in my office who can, I'd be happy to do that. And yeah, so a couple big updates from the council, and then a few, actually a number of upcoming community events and community engagement opportunities. So first, council, as Commissioner Sani mentioned, there are, we're entering the essentially 5 to 6 month long process of budget, where it's kind of broken up into 3 phases. There's the performance oversight hearings, which we're in, then the budget oversight hearings, which is going to be April, right after the mayor releases her first draft. And essentially every agency gets a performance and budget oversight hearing. So there's 2 chances to weigh in. You're supposed to be like performance oversights, like how they did, budget oversights, like what should they get in their funding, or how would you change the funding this coming year, but you can use the time for however you want to use the time. And Then after that, the third phase of the budget is kind of each committee taking all of their different agencies that they had, packaging them up, voting out. Then there's like the final committee vote. So those are all kind of the final internal debates within the council at that point. So performance oversight hearings are happening. I'm attending some, coming up. I was at the Department of Licensing Consumer Protection last week. Next week, I know every agency under the Business and Economic Development Committee is all at the same time. That's how McDuffie, the chairman of that committee, wants to do it. So it means if you're wanting to talk about DSLBD, DEMPED, the Office of Tax and Revenue, the Chief Financial Officer, any of those, is a lot of important agencies. It's all next Wednesday for public witnesses. He has other ones for the government witnesses. But highly encourage you to go to, and I think I sent out late this afternoon to all the commissioners, the hearing sign up link, which I'm going to find again real quick. But essentially, they're slow to put them up there, I think, because it's just a clunky process that the secretary's office makes the offices go through. But if you go to any of the performance oversight hearings that are listed, and you click on the kind of the hearing notice, it's all, for all of them, it's the full schedule. So it's a little clunky. But I'm going to put the website, or the link to the hearing management system, which is how you'll see all upcoming hearings, roundtables, and anything else. And you can just sign up to testify or just submit testimony, all from there. So again, not all of them are live yet on the hearing management system, but encourage folks to kind of look at any of the ones, the performance oversights that are live, and look at the notice, the hearing notice, and you'll see the full thing. It's a little hard to navigate, to be honest. But so feel free to reach out to me if you're like, hey, I really want to advocate on this issue. This is something that's important to me. This is some injustice I've seen. This is something I'm really struggling with. Whatever it is, you want to figure out the best strategy for engaging and advocating on it. I'm happy to help walk you through and figure out the best places for you to show up. Sometimes there's options, right? And it's really just depends on your strategy. So, and there's also, like I said, kind of two bites of the apple with any agency, because there's two rounds. So that's all to say. That's a big part of the kind of coming 4 months. I believe the first vote on the final budget is the end of May. So a lot ahead of us. In terms of the internal council, there's a new council period. There's one new council member, Wendell Felder, who's the Ward 7 council member. And there's new committees, including the Committee on Youth Affairs, which is a new committee that is chaired by my boss and our council member, Zachary Parker. And so that is kind of, where he's putting a lot of his intention is into the agencies under his, that he has direct oversight. He doesn't still have any executive control. I think sometimes people get confused about how the council works, but the agencies are still all run by the mayor, but now he has like chief oversight role, at least he's supposed to, for the Department of Youth Rehabilitation Services, DYRS, Child and Family Services, CFSA, the parts of the Attorney General's Office, or OAG, that are related to juvenile justice, and then a few other kind of minor commissions. There's like pretty much in every committee, there's a few other kind of commissions or offices that are thrown in. So I think he's the chair of the Mayor's Office of African American Affairs and the Mayor's Office of African Affairs. And there might be one or two others. Oh, Ombudsman for Children. So those are the ones that are under his sort of committee. And we staffed up and hired 2 folks to run that committee. So the committee director is named Thomas Franco, and someone who's working on both the committee and a little bit on the personal side as well as Joe Dweck. He came from Councilmember Fruman's office. So
Sam, a quick point of order. It's been about 7 minutes.
got you.
Yeah, go ahead, but I'll give you a couple more minutes.
Sorry about that. So the other big staffing update is that I actually am moving into a policy role. So I don't know if it'll be next month or the month after, but I'm going to be kind of slowly transitioning into another role. In the meantime, we haven't yet hired my replacement, so I am still the constituent services person. So feel free again to reach out to me, and I'm still working with Oliver, the constituent services director, on a lot of different issues. And the other big updates are in terms of community events. So I'm going to try and find the photo so I can attach to so that everyone can see it. But essentially, we have our public safety call tomorrow at 3 p.m. on Zoom. And there's a link that you can sign up to that. There's the Ward 5 award ceremony, Smokehouse, and we are going to be honoring all the former ANC commissioners, the outgoing ones, but also neighbors who've been involved or who were nominated, and other folks. And then we're going to have our budget forum on February 25th at 6:30 at Friendship Armstrong at 111 O Street Northwest. So I'm going to see if I can attach that flyer in the chat so everyone can see it. Something for the commissioners to know. We're also doing a just for commissioners and civic leaders, like leadership meeting at Catholic University. There was some debate about which specific room because it was a little confused, but we'll be sending out all that information. That's on February 8th, which is a Saturday. I believe it's going to start at 10 a.m. So we'd love to see you all there. Again, anytime you need any updates or want to know what's happening in the council member's office or across the city, we put our updates in our newsletter, so you can check out the most recent one at ward5.us/news. Just drop that in the chat, and you can click subscribe from there to get on the mailing list to get them each week.
Thank you, Sam. Appreciate it. Are there any questions from commissioners, comments? Yes, Commissioner Sani.
This is a comment. Sam, I wanted to thank you and the council member for helping us intervene. We had some neighbors we had a neighbor in a wheelchair who was unable to navigate the sidewalks and the Metro Bridge leading up to Rhode Island Avenue Metro. DPW was not being responsive. Commissioner Bishop Henchman and I don't want to speak on his behalf fully, but we were trying to get someone to do stuff, and you two managed to get it unstuck. So thank you for your support there.
Absolutely. It was I had to remind them a little too many times, but yeah, glad we got it done.
Thank you. Any other commissioner questions, comments?
I have a question for
Yes.
Sam. Sam, I'm sure you've gotten this question a lot of times, and thank you for the council member's office for pushing forward on like snow-related trash pickup delays. But just wanted to kind of get a quick update. Like, is everything back on schedule now? If people are still having issues, like, should they still reach out?
I mean, we're in constant contact with DPW. The most recent service level update they gave, it was still not fully not committal to be like, we are now set, but they were like, kind of like, all right, we're getting our feedback on the ground. So I would bet that there's still going to be some delays and issues. There were so many different kind of confluence of factors of holidays and inauguration, and then like the multiple snows that they had to call mulligans on recycling service one week, and I think it's just been a kind of a catch up since then. And I know Eckington especially, I'm sure Edgewood too, but I just heard a lot of I got a lot of comments from Eckington, just that, you know, that it was unacceptable. I get why people are at, and I think those cities also just, you know, there's just a lot of holes in the system. We don't have to do it that much. My sense is they're trying their best, and that they are like intending to be back on schedule. But I wouldn't, you know, always submit a 311 request, and if you want me to kind of escalate it, I can definitely do that if you send it to me over email.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions from commissioners? Seeing none, any questions from the public, either online or in the audience? Yes. Please identify yourself and the neighborhood you live in.
Hey Sam, it's Daniel Aaron Price. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. So I have a request and I have a question for you. So a few weeks ago, there was a mass shooting that was on the corner of 3rd and R Street, which was around the corner from my house. 5 people were injured, and I'm not asking for an update on that. What I'm requesting is, now that you're in this policy role, if you could speak with Councilmember Parker and your legislative director. Our commissioners tonight are poised to pass a resolution that focuses on the urgent need for a gun violence coordinated reduction strategy across DC. It's an evidence-based strategy utilizing over 20 plus resources and collaborative reports from various community-based organizations and national organizations specifically focused on the Washington, D.C. area. So I ask that you take a look at that resolution and you consider introducing legislation to bolster the Secure DC bill that passed as of the last legislative session. And then my question, and we're fortunate enough that it snowed outside, but the next time that there's blood that's everywhere from these incidents, what department would you recommend that I call?
Well, I'm sorry to hear about that. I would say I think that is a DPW issue, but actually, I think it's an MPD issue. So if MPD didn't finish cleaning a crime scene, you know, either way you can flag it for me. I'd probably loop them both in. But that's, I think, the answer to that. In terms of the gun violence reduction strategy blueprint, please send it our way. I'm happy to flag it for my team and talk about what's
Will do,
appropriate.
Sam.
Yeah.
Just point of order has to pass the 5F commission first before I'll get to you. But all right. So moving right along. Are there any other comments from the public or questions to Sam? Seeing none, we will move on to, there's nothing for presentations relating to agenda items. We'll move on to the consent agenda. And for others' awareness, if this is your first meeting, the consent agenda is opportunity for resolutions to be passed kind of all at the same time, but individual commissioners can pull off one of those resolutions to discuss in kind of the action agenda. If there are changes or adjustments or maybe debate or announcements that may want to be made about those, typically these are for relatively non-controversial stuff that doesn't require a lot of actions and discussion from the public. And in the consent agenda, it can be passed kind of all of the items at those individual all through one particular vote. Are there any commissioners that would like to pull off anything from the consent agenda? Hearing none, seeing none, we will move to adopt the consent agenda for the 5 resolutions, because resolution to adopt 2025 meeting calendar has already been passed by the commission. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Sani. We'll go to a voice vote, starting with Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
Commissioner votes aye. Commissioner Sani.
Aye.
Commissioner Sani votes aye. Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams votes aye. Commissioner Galvan votes aye. Commissioner Anderson.
Aye.
Commissioner Anderson votes aye. Commissioner Bishop Henchman.
Aye. Yes.
Bishop votes aye. Commissioner Zenjon is now present. In the eyes of the chair, we have 6 to 0 to 1. The resolutions are passed by the 5F commission. Each of those individual resolutions will then be signed by the chair and the secretary, and then go to are indicated that each of those will be distributed by their respective sponsors. Moving on, yes, Commissioner Williams.
For the consent agenda, I wasn't paying attention. The one I wanted to pull off was to have a discussion. And I understand it may be too late, but
Yeah. Unfortunately, since we've already gone through a closed vote, I'm sorry. Is there anything? I'll give you the opportunity to say something about it if you wish.
yes, please.
Okay. Yes.
Bylaws. We need to go through that.
10F. You're talking about the resolution for DC leaders to address. Sorry, 10A. Oh, the resolution to amend the bylaws. Okay. Let's. Yeah, we may need the other thing I'll mention about the consent agenda and any of the resolutions. So these should be submitted to the individual commissioners 10 days in advance. There are usually opportunities for commissioners to make recommendations or changes or adjustments or debate on those. And then they can be adjusted or pulled off the consent agenda just for everyone else's awareness for future. We may have to take a second discussion later on that, given it was already passed. We'll move on, and then we can touch base at the end of the meeting if you want to say anything. Well, considering that the voting has closed, I don't think that's. Yes, it had passed, and we had called the vote. So. Moving along to, there's nothing on the action agenda. On number 12, the other reports or presentations. There will be a 10-minute presentation by the Department of Parks and Recreation. And Mr.
Christopher
Dyer, thank you very much.
You,
I apologize for missing that.
when I say next slide, can you next slide it?
Yeah, I can do that.
And can that also be projected?
Oh, yes. I may
Okay.
not be the most stable internet wise, but I can do that. Give me
Yeah,
one
because I
moment.
actually have it on my phone, which is
Okay,
fine.
great.
I also have it committed to memory because I've done it about 522 times. But while they're getting ready, commissioners, welcome. Are some of you new?
We will put it in.
Welcome. I'm your ANC liaison. So I jokingly say that I'm the mooker for DPR. So you don't have to bug Anthony Black unless you want to complain about the lack of service that we're being provided. I've been in DC government for way too long, but it's a delight to be here. So I can read the.
Yeah, if you want to hit here, I silenced all my weird messaging
Okay.
apps, so if you would like to just hit right. We will share this online. Just I'm not able to project it on Zoom, but this device is the microphone. So
Perfect.
feel free to kind of have that close to you.
So is this going to go on Zoom too? Or no?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Excellent. Because I spent no, I'm kidding. Anyway, so my name is Christopher Dyer. I am the Community Engagement Manager for the DC Department of Parks and Recreation. I am delighted, to be here to ANC 5F. This is my third visit to the ANC, and you're one of my favorites. And I don't just say that to everyone. And Commissioner Galvin, welcome on, congrats on becoming chair. I've interacted with some of you before, so, we're there. Anyway, so just as a friendly reminder, for those of you following along, we love bragging for a moment. We are still the #1 park ranked system in the country.
Woo!
We have 244 amenities across all 8 wards in the district, and we have a lot of capital projects going on throughout the year, which keeps us kind of busy. Here are some of the DPR sites in 5F. I didn't include the 2 or 3 triangle parks. They're hiding there, but The big ones obviously are Tanner Park, and then we have the Edgewood Rec Center and Harry Thomas, which we are aware that there's a capital improvement project going on with Harry Thomas. If you've not gotten on the list to get updates about the project, go to dpr.dc.gov/stakeholder and sign up to get updates. Although if you are on the ANC list, I'm sure this ANC is very nice to send out messages and forward it. But right now it's in early design stage. So
Excuse me for 1 minute. Are you sharing this presentation?
I am not currently, but I probably captured public information from people.
So, yeah, we were having trouble
Yeah.
actually getting.
So
But,
anyway.
all commissioners have this in your inbox. It's the presentation Christopher said before the meeting.
And I'll send it again after the meeting if you didn't get it.
I got it. I was just
Okay, cool.
for the
By the way,
presentation for the mic.
if you're sitting at home and wondering what's going on at Edgewood, you can go to dpr.dc.gov/Edgewood and it'll land on the program on the page of the site. You scroll to the bottom of the page, there are 4 little tabs that you can hit to see about if there's a permit, and then more importantly, the programs that are happening at Edgewood. We've added that wrinkle to our technology because I know one of the common questions, especially from commissioners, is what's going on at the rec, or is there a permit, or why is there a huge loud noise? I don't know if Tanner is engaged with that. It's a slightly different system, but you can take a look at that as well. So the flyer that everyone has in the room, this is our main, these are like the top 4 sites. You got dpr.events, which is our list of the special events that are happening in the area. dprprograms.com is our big one, and I'll get into it a little bit more as we get in, but that's where all the programs and all the program registration happens in the agency. So your swimming programs are there, pickleball's there, all sorts of wonderful stuff happens, and I'll get a little bit more into it later. dpr.dc.gov/locations will help you find the location of a DPR event or DPR rec center in case you're trying to look and you haven't and you want to find out where your aquatic centers are. That's the site for that. And dpr.dc.gov/permits is our one-stop shop for all online permitting. And yes, if you are having 10 or more people, I think it's 5 or more people in an event, you do need a permit. So we'll get into it a little bit more. So dprprograms.com. As I said before, that's our main site for all of our program registration. Program registration happens on a quarterly basis. So on March 11th and 12th, we will do our summer or our spring season programs. And the 11th is for all of our aquatics programs, which is very popular. And then all other programs are on March 12th. So may the odds ever be in your favor when you sign up for that. We do have a reduced rate. In fact, commissioners, this is very important. We do provide a reduced rate on a fee for qualifying families. You get a 50 to 75% discount depending on income. And the application approval is good for the entire calendar year. And as we're getting close to summer camp registration, that's kind of fun. And we really want to emphasize that these are opportunities to get there, but you do need to apply. And then visit dprprograms.com for more information. Now, the reason I am here now in January is we are now doing our big blitz because, believe it or not, it's time for summer and summer camp. So on February 3rd, all of the camp locations and offerings will be viewable across the web at dprsummercamp.com. There will be a summer camp info session, 2 of them on the 4th, one at noon and one at 6:30. And then there will be in-person assistance from the 4th to the 28th. The lottery, again, starts on February 14th. That's our Valentine's Day gift to everyone. You have a few weeks to sign up, so you don't have to wait at noon on the 12th and start, scurrying in. It's not a March Madness kind of thing. You have a few weeks to get there. The deadline to apply for reduced rates is February 24th. On March 3rd, the camp lottery closes, and on the 4th, we will start notifying people about their selections. So, this is our 3rd year doing the lottery. We've ironed out most of the kinks, and we're looking forward to a summer camp. And again, dprsummercamp.com is your place to go for more information. And commissioners, you'll get a few emails from me, or from someone else in my office, because I'm actually going out of town on Friday. But you should get some information about this, and you can push it out to your constituents. But summer camp's exciting. Permits. We do require a permit for 10 or more people. Visit dpr.dc.gov/permits. or call 202-673-7647 for complete information on how to get a permit for your special event. All permits are done online. Applications are done online. We have a lot of multi-purpose rooms in our rec centers. We have, we have all sorts of opportunities for you to do, and park sites. All of our fields, though, are done through a seasonal permitting process because we have a ton of demand for our fields. Good news. In case you are a 311 fan, the Department of General Services, who does all of our maintenance, is now on 311, and it's a godsend. So if you see something in our park or our Tanner Park, which, by the way, Noma Bid does maintain, but if you're out in another one of our parks and you see something, take a picture and open up a ticket if you don't mind. Or if you're at one of our rec centers, you can flag it for our staff. But we don't have a roving team of people wandering around looking at all of our triangle parks. So we really hope, and we really count on you, the residents, to help us by pointing out things that are astray. Interesting thing, I love telling this story. If you're looking at an overflowing trash can, if it's brown, it's done by the Department of Public Works. If it's a blue trash can, it's done by the Department of General Services. Don't ask why, but that's.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, so if it's a brown can, it's a DPW responsibility to clean. If it's a blue recycling can, it's the Department of General Services. And there is a specific work order on the website for Department of General Services for blue recycling cans. That's one of my favorites. So, how do you get in touch with me? You can reach me on my cell at 202-702-9453, or you can email me at christopher.dyer@dc.gov. I'm one of those, I'm a little bit older, and I know people like texting. I generally prefer phone calls or emails with stuff, especially with photos, because I quite haven't figured out how to forward a picture from my smartphone onto the web. So we really need photos. A picture is really worth 1,000 words, especially if you're flagging an issue for me to address, because I'm sure we get some very descriptive things, but the system only requires, we really need a photo. I don't know why. So feel free to contact me anytime you want, up to a certain point. I'm also an ANC commissioner as well. I realized I needed some street cred with you guys when I started doing this 3 years ago. So I ran for ANC again. I'm on my 4th term, 2nd non-consecutive. I need to point that out. I'm not that crazy, but I understand what you guys do and appreciate what you do. So, feel free to reach out to me. And if you have questions, I can answer. Obviously, the Mokers can help you. I also have been in government now for a while. I might be able to help you find your way on something else. But hit me with DPR. So with that, I'll open it to any questions. Thanks for letting me show. And I'm sure you guys have questions.
Perfect. Thank you. By the way, you're right on the money at 10 minutes. So thank you very much. Commissioner, questions or comments? Commissioner Soni?
First a comment, thank you for the SplashBat website to determine whether or not splash pads or pools are open. It was a godsend last year.
Oh, good.
We're going to the wrong pool and stuff like that. It was really helpful for my neighbors.
Oh, good.
The other is, so obviously with budget season coming up, we've heard from some neighbors about things they'd like to see amenity-wise at like a rec center. As a commissioner, and maybe them as a constituent, how do they best engage with DPR to say, like, we need more shade at Edward Rec Center?
So we've done that a couple of times. ANCs, you are more than welcome to pass a resolution. I respond, and we provide great weight. In terms of budget, though, have your folks show up for the oversight hearing. Have you show up at the budget hearings, and continue to raise awareness. The pickleball folks, as an example, were very passionate, and they had a lot of people at the oversight hearing. I'm not going to say that would guarantee the money, but you're just raising awareness with the council. By the way, we are on the facilities committee this year because Janice Lewis George, Councilmember George, wanted to have DGS and DPW on our committee, and so now, even though we're Parks and Rec, we are a facility committee. I don't know when their oversight hearing is, but it's going to be fun. And there'll be a public hearing for the public one day, and then the government will testify another day because we're that popular. We get a lot of people showing up. So that's my suggestion. Budgets are tight. We have a operating budget and a capital budget. But again, your ANC, I think at one point you passed a resolution asking for more shade at Edgewood, and we reviewed it. But some of that stuff, like Edgewood Shade, is difficult to do.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Any other commissioners? Commissioner Jones?
Similarly, I had a question about equipment in the rec centers. Is
Okay.
that a similar response?
Okay, so the similar response, if you're seeing something wrong with the equipment, flag it for the staff. Because actually DGS does not maintain our equipment. Interestingly, we do the maintenance of it. But again, if something is broken, we do try to replace it. We do have a finite amount of resources. I'll never be one to say that budget is the, that we, and we'll never say, I was a appointee with Adrian Fenty way back in the day. And he always said to me, never come to me and tell me you need more money, because there's always a way to find efficiencies. But if there's a piece of equipment that's broken, flag it for the front desk staff, or feel free to send it to me. But the staff really do know how to get work orders in.
Great. Any other comments or questions from commissioners?
I'm sorry, I don't think I heard you mention this. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I thought I saw that there was an email about like a Ward 5, like if you compare it to like a Ward 5 based meeting. Is that right?
Oh yeah, cool.
Jennifer,
Yeah,
can you repeat your question?
he was asking about a Ward 5 meeting. So we have for all of our
I'm
capital.
prompting him to say something that I think he should have said.
Yeah, so Ward 5, there is a Ward 5. We have these things called Ward by Ward capital project updates. And our Ward 5 meeting, I believe, is on February 10th. Go to dpr.dc.gov. Actually, this is where you go. If you go to dpr.events, you'll see a link to the page. But that's our we do our capital project, and we'll give you a sort of a broad overview of where we are on all the capital projects in the ward. And so right now there's Harry Thomas, there's Langdon, there's Fort Lincoln. I'm sure there are a few others, but we have a lot of stuff going on. So it's sort of interesting to sort of get a snapshot of where we are. But if you have specific questions about capital projects in your area, give me a call or send me an email. Yes.
There.
Yes, Commissioner Anderson.
Could you give us a sneak preview of Harry Thomas and what might be shared regarding Harry Thomas?
Right now we're in design, we're in early design stage, so that's where we are. So we're not, we have to get a design company in. We had our kickoff meeting with the board, and so there'll be so our typical, for those of you who've never done this before, for our big projects like Harry Thomas, we usually have 5 meetings. The first is a project kickoff meeting. The second is a design presentation, 2 or 3 design presentations as we're going through the process. And then there's a 5th and final meeting, which is the construction kickoff meeting. So we're really early, relatively early in the process with Harry Thomas.
So I was in the ANC commission since 2015.
Yeah, and I knew you were going to ask. I made sure that I had an update of it, because I knew one of you guys was going to ask about Harry Thomas when I came here.
Okay. I have a question. So regarding that early design stage, when is if commissioners end up seeing something in that early design phase that is really, we hear from the community that folks are really passionate about, when is the best time for feedback from the ANC's perspective? For example, a resolution was passed to indicate something very specific that wanted to be encapsulated in that. What would be the timing of that?
So our second meeting, that would be right after the second meeting when you see the early designs.
Okay.
I've actually, no ANC, I think only one ANC has gotten very specific about design choices, and I won't mention them. But I'm like jealous. I mean, so there are but again, we provide great weight. We also designed a budget, so that's very important to understand. And so it would be great to have like the Taj Mahal in some of the rec centers, but eventually you have to make choices.
Yeah, of course.
And that's why we make these presentations to the community, and we really encourage feedback. But again, if you're following along at home and you want to get on the list, the stakeholder list, to get updates about when the meetings are, go to dpr.dc.gov/stakeholder. And if you want to see where we are on capital projects, I even created a unique URL that will flash you over to the DGS website, because again, Department of General Services does all of our building and maintenance. We are one of their clients. So it's dpr.dc.gov, and then capital C, capital projects, our capital project, and the C and the P are capitalized. And I think it's capital project It might be plural, but go there and it will take you to the DGS website directly, which will have a list of all the projects that are going on in the ward. Or alternately, if you want to have some fun, you can go to the DGS website and click under construction, and then there's a specific page that is dedicated to all the DPR products, and that will show you the designs where they are. It'll show you where we are in the meeting.
So the February 10th meeting is your first meeting or your second meeting?
So the February 10th meeting is a broader conversation.
Okay.
It's a meeting. It's an update on all the projects in the ward.
Okay.
So
that second meeting that you're talking about with the design has not been scheduled.
No, it's not been scheduled.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions from commissioners? Going to the public for questions or comments for Mr. Dyer.
You can raise your hand on Zoom.
Yeah, sorry, you can raise your hand on Zoom, and we will recognize and unmute you. Seeing none, thank you very much, Mr. Dyer, for your time.
No, thank you guys. This is a lot of fun, and thanks for the folks who are braving the whatever elements it is, and for those of you at home who are online. I always think as I'm biased obviously as an ANC commissioner, but civic engagement at this level is some of the most fun and rewarding, and that's great. So, quick question for you: how many people are signed up online right now?
11.
11. Okay, cool. All right, guys, keep up the good work. Good luck this year, and feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to committee and task force updates. We will start with the Alcohol and Cannabis Licensing Committee, and that is Ms. Coughlin.
Yep. Hello, how are you? So we don't have any new applications for alcohol or cannabis. We don't have any renewals for alcohol or cannabis. We do have two applications that are hung up in ABCA legal things. So the Family Tree, which Mark alluded to earlier, also Edgewood Wine and Spirits, which Mark alluded to as well. They're both in the last stages of settlement agreements, I think. So hopefully we'll have an update on those at our next meeting. And then just for, oops, sorry, hold on. I'm throwing in the chat because I think I can give to everyone. The Alcohol Licensing Committee has a feedback form for all alcohol and cannabis establishments. They're for new ones, old ones, and this is for both positive and negative feedback. This is to help the committee form decisions in real time when new applications and new renewals or new issues come up. The other thing is that ABCA is constantly beefing up their cannabis enforcement, especially for illegal cannabis establishments. And so they recently just padlocked 3 new ones this last week. And to date, they've issued 43 cease and desist orders, 98 written warning letters, and I think the padlock thing is up to 23 or 24. And so I know in ANC 5F, we've got at least 2 illegally operating cannabis establishments.
Did we lose you?
Yes.
All right. We'll give her about 30 seconds. All right, well, maybe we will come back to her if she rejoins. Moving on to the committee update on public safety and health, Mr. Aaron Price.
Yes, good evening, everyone. So for those of you new joining onto the ANC call, so my name is Daniel Aaron Price. I am the, I guess I could say former chair, but hoping to be current chair of the Public Safety and Health Committee for ANC 5F. So just here to provide some updates from our last meeting. So for those of you new here, we meet every third Thursday of the month from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. in the Eckington Community Room, which is where we're located tonight. We will be meeting next on Thursday, February 20th. And we always offer a hybrid option for those of you that don't want to bear the cold. So if you want to attend virtually, you can be able to do so. As general updates from our committee work, We are in some of the later stages of the community engagement strategy that was passed a few months ago. We formally activated block captains, which I think is the first time that we've been able to do that. It's been exciting work. Some of them have been on that list for years at this point and haven't been reached out to as of yet. Some of them for 2 years, as opposed for a few of them. And we had a bunch of individuals that reached out interested in passing out and distributing some of the flyers that we created as a committee. Commissioner Galvan printed out an initial 250 flyers, and I'm happy to report that all 250 have been distributed by block captains in our area across Edgewood and Eckington. There's still a lot of space to cover still. We have so many neighbors. So we're going to do another batch of printing, and then hopefully we'll be able to activate the rest of the block captains that already requested some flyers, and I'll meet up with them to distribute those. Our next step within the strategy, at our next meeting, we're going to start script writing. So making sure that we have a little bit of a dialogue that we can all learn when we're doing some door knocking in the spring, so we can cover the rest of the ANC and get them to know who we are and what we do. Thank you to all the commissioners for voting in the affirmative, for the resolution letter on the gun violence reduction. Super important work. It was already passed by ANC 6B, and I've already been doing outreach to some of the other surrounding ANCs so we can get this unilaterally passed within all ANCs across the district. ANC 5D already has 2 identified champions, and ANC 5C I just sent an email to as of 2 minutes ago. So we're working. Next is we have a draft resolution for moped and traffic violence that is on deck for a vote in next month's general ANC meeting. So look forward to that coming soon. Just getting some excitement out about the bottle bill, just because for all of you that's new here, the Public Safety, Health and Community Engagement Committee passed a resolution on getting the DC Council to create a bottle bill, which would allow for bottles to be taken back with a certain amount of money being allocated to the individuals providing those bottles, if that's correct. At its simplest form, you can look up the resolution online and see all the information on that, but we were the first ANC throughout the district that was able to pass a resolution on that, and now it's being heavily considered within DC Council with 11 of the council members that are sponsoring that piece of legislation, so it's poised for success, which is pretty exciting. So look forward to that, and I encourage everybody to testify on behalf of the piece of legislation as well, so look that up online. Safety walks plan. So as Commissioner Anderson was talking about, that's exactly correct. So Tuesday, February 4th at 4 p.m. And this safety walk is meeting at 1625 Eckington Place Northeast, which is just around the corner from here. For those of you unfamiliar with the concept of a safety walk, this is when MPD and sometimes it's other agencies as well kind of walk hand in hand with the community around certain blocks of the neighborhood, and will answer neighbors' questions regarding MPD initiatives, regarding MPD protocol, or just any sort of safety considerations that they may be having. I highly recommend attending these to meet who our officials are for the 5D Command Center within MPD. It's very helpful to put some names and faces within our neighborhood, and you get a lot of contact information as well, like personal cell phone numbers from commanders, so it's helpful. And then just the last thing that I always do is I provide a tip related to public health and safety. My only tip that I have for you is if you're interested in signing up to be a block captain, we're in need of block captains. If you just go to anc5f.com, you'll be able to find the block captain form, I believe at the top of the committees section, if that's correct. I'm getting some nods, but it's somewhere on the website. You'll find a sign, a form, a Google form to fill out. So please fill out that form to be a block captain. I'll be notified of that and be in touch with you soon about distribution of flyers and other ways that we can activate you in the community. And that's all.
Thank you, Mr. M. Price. Moving on to
Quick amendment to that, just on the committees, the link is to
Mr. Anderson.
a broader volunteering survey. It doesn't specifically say block captain, but so just that is the correct link. That is the same link.
Great, thank you, Commissioner Anderson. I believe Chair Melissa. Okay, she lost connection, so we will move on. We'll do Transportation and Public Spaces Committee update. Mr. Sani. Mr. Sani.
Yeah, thank you. On the top side, it was fairly quiet this time. We didn't really have any resolutions or letters on death, but we instead revisited the accomplishments of the committee from the past 2 years. We passed quite a few resolutions. I think no shade or challenge to our public safety committee, but they're bringing the numbers up. No, but all that to say, lots of looking back, seeing where what we did and what we can be doing in the next, whoever stays on to the committee, that is, what can be done in the next term. And looking forward to, like, as spring and summer come by and as DDOT starts doing construction and road work again, what areas do we think we should be drawing their attention to? Obviously, committee meetings are the only places. Please contact your ANC commissioners. Please email us. Let us know where you want priorities to be. Yeah, that was it. Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner Sani. Next update will be the Zoning and Development Committee. That is Mr. Stone. Is Mr. Stone on the line? I believe so. Yeah. Okay, we will move on to the Library Task Force. I don't believe there's anyone online. Oh, sorry. Yes, and I can probably speak to it too, so go ahead.
You're at that meeting, so I'll let you speak to it.
Okay. Regarding the public library, there was a presentation by DC Public Libraries on their survey results. They got, I think, more than 1,000 people responded to the public library, which is an incredible amount of public input, which is really exciting on the different, not just the different locations, but what are the different priorities. And so they talked about kind of their design strategy, where the library would kind of pull from, how they are planning to choose and select a location of the library. They put together a presentation. I'm going to try to drop, that's what I was trying to do right before this, try to drop it in the chat for folks. And essentially the two kind of top contenders for the location is right along Rhode Island Avenue in between Edgewood and Eckington. There's one that's on the Eckington side and one on the Edgewood side as part of the Bryant Street development. Both are kind of looking as not part of not a part of DC government land, but as part of developments that would have a long-term lease associated with it. But there is also kind of a cooling off of the market with respect to building, significant, probably due to high interest rates and whatnot. So there's still kind of some evaluation that is ongoing about where exactly that will go. But that was the community input kind of pushed those two as kind of the highest contenders, or the most people wanted those two sites. I think it was like 27 or 23%, respectively, for those two locations. So that's as much as I can remember at this particular moment, but it was a great update and meeting. The timeline that they have put together is still accurate. It's still years away, but the public input at this time is still really important. So encourage people to continue to stay engaged on it and provide feedback. One other thing I'll make a note on is that the best time for kind of ANC or commissioner feedback on this particular library and the location is once they've kind of developed the community requirements for what that is. There's a fixed budget right now, but once we determine what kind of the community wants, there may have to be some sacrifices depending on what that budget or additional asks from the council for additional funding. But that is not at this point in time this point in time is, continued engagement and feedback as they move along their design process. No, that's all I can remember. So I will share. Is there anything else, Commissioner Sani, you want to mention?
No, just wanted to add that this is all being driven forward by our library task force. So
Great. Yes, Commissioner Williams.
So the developer, Rich,
Yes, J.R. Lynch. Yes.
he chose not to put the library there because there was a massive discussion when they first approached. You know, it was under 5E, 5F wasn't formed yet. Because he had designs and everything for that development.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, that was done by the office of. Sorry, that was the mayor's office. DEMPED. I can't remember what DEMPED stands for. But yes, there was a design process. What Commissioner Williams is referring to is back at the end of 5E's last session, which was a little more than 2 years ago. And before 5F was fully formed, they had come to the commission for some designs that included in the J.R. Lynch and also as part of the redo of the firehouse there at 5th Street and Rhode Island Avenue. There was no action by the ANC to recommend a particular one, but as I understand it, there was a recommendation by DEMPED, the executive office of the mayor.
there was a recommendation for 5E and all that scope. It was about 5 years before, just before the pandemic and right after the pandemic.
Okay, gotcha.
So I'm just
Prior
trying
to
to
this
figure
thing.
out how they.
Yeah, how those are
Switches.
interacted. So it sounded like
Yes, because it was already in the drawing. They had drawings, everything went through 5E. So I'm
Yeah.
trying to figure out how did it come out of 5E.
so. I think
The
I'm not sure.
firehouse is a different project, so
Yeah,
that was
Commissioner.
on the firehouse at the time. There's actually, it's like 3 projects in a row all along that block there. And
Okay.
there's the firehouse project, there's the AutoZone project, because it's currently an AutoZone, and then there's this other project which kind of wraps around the others. That third one is the one that's under consideration for the site. So it's not the firehouse, not the AutoZone.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, like I was saying, that project included the firehouse and AutoZone because of that development they were trying to put in place.
They're different projects, is what I'm saying. They're different
What
projects.
is we need to go back to zoning and pull up those specs because it was one project and they was adding all these features back to that development. And all of that was included into it. The firehouse, they was removing AutoZone, they was putting a library there. Yes.
Yeah, I remember when 5E did the presentation, so I remember.
And there was a resolution for that. And
Yeah.
like I said, I'm trying to figure out when did it switch.
Yeah, so I think, so I obviously don't work for DC Public Library because I feel like I would have advocated for a different location than one that is in the final contender list. But I think in the past 2 years that we've been engaging with DC Public Library, because we did also talk to DEMPED earlier, it just seemed like the location was still kind of a moving target and still it's not fixed. I think like the good thing coming out of this is that the community's been really engaged, and on that presentation, we should link it in our meeting notes as well. In addition to sharing it in the meeting here, is just like how engaged the community has been, and how much response has been there. But I don't know what happened. I think that there were just a lot of different conversations, and there were just a lot of conversations that we weren't privy to. But it sounds like there are 4 locations that are currently in the running. I think a lot of people were also advocating for the former DC Public Library kind of operations center. It's been pretty clear, and even more clear in this presentation, that is not a contender at this point. So I'm just saying that I remember those conversations. I remember 5E supporting that. So I was just backing you up that like I remember those conversations. I'm not sure where they where the pivot has been, but I think they were just considering multiple locations for the library.
There are two hands up on the call. Commissioner Bishop Henchman, and then I'll go to you, Sam.
Yeah, just to add on what happened there, DemPed did not want to do a library as part of the firehouse project. So that's what Ivy didn't do a resolution supporting the firehouse, so there was no great weight that they had to afford. They probably would have found a way around it anyways, even if they did. So it was so that firehouse moving forward without a library. So this is, like I said, that third project along that block or across the street. Those are, I think, are the two finalist projects. No, not on the firehouse.
Great, thanks, Commissioner Bishop Henchman. 1 second, we'll let Sam, and then we'll go to you. Mr. Bonner.
Yeah, I mean, I think mostly this has been shared, but yes, I think what people are saying is correct in that there were two different well, there's multiple different projects, some of which are being controlled by DemPed, some of which are being controlled by other other developers or other owners. And yeah, DemPed decided to not go with that. That was like right at the beginning of 2023 to not go with the design that included the library. And separately now, the last 2 years, the library has done a community engagement process, which I hear you, Commissioner Williams, the engagement processes are not always as plugged in on the ground with where real communities are. So I definitely hear that. But they eliminated it down to 2 locations, I think, most recently. But those are not their projects, they're other people's developments. I think they're both private developments that they're trying to essentially get in on and be a part of the proposals as those developments move forward.
Thank you, Sam. Commissioner Williams? Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments from people about that? All right. Thank you very much. I also posted in the chat the link to the DCPL update presentation that was provided a couple weeks ago. Moving on to appointments to committees or task force. All right, yeah.
So in the agenda, we didn't have the outreach task force readout.
Yes. Fair point. So there is a committee on outreach. It currently is not chaired, and there is no update that I've heard with regard to that.
Well,
Unless the Commissioner.
I'm referring to the task force that was temporarily formed last year, and I just wanted you to find the readout.
Okay, sorry. Yes, Commissioner Sani, go ahead.
Yeah, so we, so within the capacity of the outreach task force was formed by NC5F to get our technology bootstrapped. I finally transferred our Zoom account under ownership of DC government. So we are now officially on DC government's licensing and user management plan. So all of these are under the ANC5F mailbox account. So you'll see notifications around meeting recordings and things like that. But the good news is that means DC is paying for it now officially versus it processing through us in our budget. Zoom did give a prorated refund of I believe it is $36.22 that I will make out a check to the ANC to provide the reimbursement for. Once we get our treasurer and stuff settled down, well, I guess. but yeah, all that to say, there's money coming back to the commission from that period.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Sani. All right, I'm moving on to the appointments to committees or task forces. It'd be great to do this all at once, but let me first ask commissioners, are there any additions to what has been proposed on the committees that is currently stated? Yes, Commissioner Sani.
I would like to add, I think there was just an oversight as we were kind of reaching out to people to see if they wanted to run again or be a member of the committees again. I would like to re-add Megan Summers to the library task force.
Okay. And just a note on in what was just updated to the bylaws and standard procedures that was voted on earlier. The commissioners can also be on these task forces and can have a voting role, even though they may not necessarily be appointed in those individual roles. So just a note for other commissioners who want to be involved. Yes, Commissioner Williams.
Okay, so I had issues last term because I couldn't get into any of these meetings.
Okay,
So will I have access to these committee meetings, task force meetings?
so the committee and task force meetings, they should all be open to the public, to anybody. What we should do is standardize how these meetings are set up, and we have a government account, correct, Commissioner Sani, that we could set up all of these on Zoom so that we don't have some of the challenges that you may have experienced with other platforms. That's a suggestion. But yes, these should all be open to the public for folks. Obviously, those that are appointed to those committees, including commissioners, will have the ability to make comments and vote on whatever is up for the agenda on those individual items. Does that answer your question? Okay. So let me ask Commissioner Sani, for the Zoom license, do we have committees, the current committee chairs from last session, are they all set up on Zoom? And can they be, I guess, feasibly, is that possible?
Feasibly, no.
Okay,
The DC license only permits single hosts, and that host has to be DC guy.
okay.
So that is the challenge. I think if we want to consider other options, like, so what traditionally has been happening is commissioners set up a Zoom meeting and then join and transfer host privileges over to a non-commissioner host
Okay.
to chair or run the meetings. If we wanted to do something else, this might be a case of reaching to our own budget as a commission and getting the Zoom license purchased again that exists for committees to share, some additional variant there.
Okay. Got it. In the absence of that taking place immediately, and obviously the folks would have to vote on that as being a recommendation. I think it's fair to ask that committees and task forces make sure that they are both the chairs or designated chairs, as accordance with the bylaws, are present for those meetings, and make sure that everyone is allowed to enter those meetings on time. And so I think that yes, Commissioner Anderson.
They're open meeting links, right? Like, so like they're similar to the ANC, as long as like the host opens the meeting, like once the host opens the meeting, they should be open to the public, right?
That's not necessarily the case. Sorry, go ahead. Yes,
Sorry.
yes, Daniel, Mr.
There's no
Price.
waiting room, so if someone were to click that link, they automatically be in the room. So like anybody can click the link and it's a public.
Yeah,
I think that depends on each committee, right?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes, yeah,
So
because
I
some of
mean,
the,
I understand.
Yeah.
Every meeting I'm trying to get into, I was waiting.
you're in the waiting room.
I was in the waiting room. There was more than just one committee meeting. That's why I'm asking this. So
I think-
my suggestion is, after you figure out if the government's gonna pay for these committee Zoom meetings, and if they don't, the refund check, can we use that to open up the account for the committees?
It'll be more than the refund check, but yeah, like I said, we should reach into the budget and buy a separate Zoom license altogether. Because refund check was like $36. We're talking probably in the realm of like
I'm just
300.
saying,
But
Yeah.
no. They're like, this is money that we should use to serve the public.
that's just my suggestion.
No, I think it's a great suggestion. And so let's consider that next. next week.
We need to find out if the government under
Yeah,
our
I-
account.
Do you all use the ANC 5F account, the Zoom account, or no? You use a separate one?
I use whatever link is on the committee meetings link that we've been using since the beginning. So if that's the same one, then that's the same one.
Okay. All right. I will look into that.
I do think they're all different.
Yes, yeah, I think
Like, they're
some of our on
Google,
Zoom accounts, some are Google Meets, and so you can, folks may need permission to get in, and so in my mind, there maybe shouldn't be permission to get in, that folks should always be allowed to go in. However, you have to be careful because bots and things will get in that aren't necessary, and that could screw up the meeting and whatnot, so.
Well, we should standardize the same way that our ANC 5F
Yeah.
meeting
Yes.
is, right? Where it's like it's open to the public, but.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, great. Thank you for that discussion. Are there any objections to doing a vote on all of the appointments to the committees and task force for this next session? All right, let's do a roll call vote. Commissioner Jones. Sorry, the vote is to appoint all of the recommended people that are stated on their respective committees or task force, in addition to what Commissioner Sani recommended for Megan Summers to the library task force.
Aye.
Okay. Commissioner Sani.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner Galvan. Aye. Commissioner Anderson.
All right.
Commissioner Bishop Henchman.
Aye.
And Commissioner Zenjon is not here. As chair sees, the ayes have it with 6-0-1. And all of the appointments have been, and chairs have been confirmed. Again, I really thank you all for your service to the community and in being a part of these committees. That being said, we are early, which is great. Are there any other questions or concerns? If nothing, I would move to adjourn. Do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Williams. No objections.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. All right, this meeting is adjourned.
I have an objection.